it's Angela Irene from Budget Reload and Aged Goodness. Thank you so much for joining us. In today's video, it is our $10 Dollar Tree Extreme Eats Cheap Eats Grocery Challenge, where you eat for an entire week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner from food purchased entirely from the Dollar Tree. Before we get started, on a serious note, if you are suffering from food shortage, please reach out to the resources available in your area. Call 211, social services, the Red Cross, local churches, even family members. Please reach out and get the help if you need it. We are back from Dollar Tree. This is our haul. This is our $10 1 week challenge. Let's see what we come up with. Here's what our menu looks like this week. With only $10 to spend, it may look limited, but let's see how we can spice things up. The first thing we're going to do with our meal is prep our pinto beans. And this is something that you do not want to skimp on. And it's not going to take that much time, but we need to sort these beans. We're looking for specifically rocks and dirt. So take the time, sort your beans, and if you have anything that looks kind of funky like this one, take it out too. That took just a few minutes. Now let me get my strainer out and let's get these rinsed off. I have my strainer. I'm going to go ahead and give these a really good rinse, and then we'll get them in the crock pot. Into our rinsed beans, I'm going to add 10 cups of water. And before we get it cooking, we're going to add some cumin. I'm just eyeballing it because I'm going to adjust afterwards for the dishes that we're using, but I just want to give it a little flavor. Garlic. Again, I'm just giving it a little sprinkle, just a little something in the water. I don't want it to be boring. Onion powder. Black pepper. And we're going to give this a pretty good dose of salt. Give everything a good stir. Now, if you had onions that you'd like to add or any extra garlic cloves laying around, get those all minced up and toss them in here. That would be excellent too. All right, we're going to cook this on high for about 5 to 5.5 hours until the beans are tender. Let's move on to the refried beans. Here's the container of the crock pot refried beans I've already made. I mean, look at this container. We've got about 10 cups. I'm gonna start with half and we'll go from there. This is where we're gonna give them a really good what for. And just like that, we have smashed beans. Got my frying pan out. Gonna get it on medium heat. A little bit of oil, not too much, just a little bit. And we'll fry this up and get it all nice and warmed up and ready to eat. We're at the consistency that we like. We're ready to go. Just like we did with our beans, we're going to go ahead and pick through all of the lentils. You just never know what you're going to find in here. It's a natural product. You might find a rock. We have a different bean altogether. There's a pinto bean in there. A few dark, really dark lentils and a little tiny rock. Look at that. And then there's even a few yellow split peas. So always make sure you sort your beans. I divided these into two. Each of the recipes I'm going to be using will have about 1 1/8 cups, and that'll be just perfect. Now let's make sure and get these lentils a really, really good rinse. I have half, so I've got 1 1/8 cups of lentils right here. Really get a lot of good friction going on there. A lot of people don't like lentils because they think they're really kind of earthy, and they are. But a lot of people don't take the time to rinse them well enough to make sure you have all of the earth literally off of them. Okay, we're going to take our rinsed lentils. We're going to add them to our pot. All I have in here, 4 1/2 cups of cold water. If you have a bay leaf, now is a great time to throw it in. It adds a little bit of just, it really does. I'm going to go ahead and put this on medium, probably medium high to start with. Gently stir it now and then. I want to bring this to a boil. I'm going to drop it to a simmer. I'm going to put the lid on it, and we're going to simmer these for 20 minutes. We're going to give it a try. Depending on how old the lentils are, it may need another 10 minutes or so, but we're going to simmer for 20 minutes once it comes to a boil, and we drop the heat down. After 25 minutes, my lentils are done. I'm going to go ahead and take them out and get them rinsed off. Here are my lentils all drained. They're ready to go in a container until we're ready to use them. Now I'm going to make the second batch. I didn't want to make them all together because this one I want to try to flavor a little bit during cooking and after cooking. The second batch of lentils I'm going to use, trying to have it be like my beef for some of my meals. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a tiny bit of chili powder, some black pepper, garlic powder. I'm going to try to use I'm going to use quite a little bit of this. Use the least amount of salt that I can because I will be using some broth packets and onion powder. And I know those are salt bombs, so I don't need to add any more sodium than I need to. So I'm going to have this be a little bit different flavor profile. And then after we're done cooking these again for the 20-25 minutes, mine were right at 25 minutes, that we will season these before we put them away. Our seasoned batch of lentils is done. Look at that, they look great. I'm gonna go ahead and put them back in this pot. I'm gonna add just a little tiny bit of oil, a little tiny bit of water, and then I'm going to add my own version of a taco meat seasoning. I will leave the recipe down below. This is all really, really basic ingredients out of your spice pantry. Okay, over medium-low heat. I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil, probably less than maybe two teaspoons. I mean, not a lot. It's not a lot at all. And I'm gonna put my seasonings in. And I mean, these are very standard, basic seasonings. We're talking chili powder, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, a little pepper. Right now, I just want to wake these seasoning up just a little bit. You know, we don't want to burn it. I've got the temperature right now about medium-low. And because we're working with just powdered, I don't really want to do too much. And then I have 1/4 cup of warm water. Let's mix that up. And because this is a very inexpensive menu, I mean, we're doing what we can with what we have, but unfortunately that does mean that we are doing without, you know, most meat. So this is going to act as our meat. Okay, there are our lentils. Let's get those stirred in. You can already see They're starting to coat. You know, that really soaked up some water pretty good. I think I'm going to give it just maybe another 1/8. So I want the seasoning to definitely be able to move around. All right, looks like everything is nice and coated. I'm going to go ahead and let this cool down. Get this off the heat, let it cool down. I don't want these to turn to mush. And then we will go ahead and put them in the refrigerator until we're ready to use them. Because of the ingredients we ended up picking up, I changed the menu around a little bit, so I am switching out the brown rice for a white rice. In my rice cooker, I have 4 cups of rice. I rinsed that off just like I did the lentils. I have 4.5 cups of water. I'm going to set this on the white rice setting and we'll just let it go and it'll be ready for us. The rice is done. Let's grate that cheese and we'll be ready to put meals together. I'm going to grate our little block using a finer mesh here. That way the cheese will go a little further, and this little block will make about 2 cups of cheese. All right, look at it all. I told you it makes more than you think, and if you do it super fine, it'll spread farther, it'll last longer. We're going to start our lentil stew. I'm going to take the flavor packet out of the beef top ramen. In my pot, I have 3 cups of water. I will add the broth. And then on the mixed vegetables, I'm going to add 2/3 of this bag. I'm going to hang on to 1/3 for our fried rice recipe. I've got this over medium heat. I'm going to go ahead and add in that broth. Make sure it all gets in there so we can get them started. All right, I just turned this down. It had a nice simmer going on. It's been about 8 minutes. Everything is starting to be nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and add some onion powder. And we're going to add a little garlic powder. And next, let's give this a little stir. We're going to go ahead and add 3 cups of our cooked rice. Let's give that a stir. This meal comes together really, really fast, you guys. Okay, and this was our 1 cup of cooked lentils that we did to start with. This is the one that I just did with the bay leaf. What I'll do is I'll put the lid back on it. I have it on very low heat. We're going to go ahead and let this meld together for a little bit. And then we will taste for seasoning. This is going to be 4 servings. Portion that out. And we have 1 recipe and 4 meals already done. Okay, we're going to get started on our fried rice. We're going to start with half of the 7-ounce little pork sausage. I'm going to use half for another breakfast, but we're going to use half here. The last of that bag of vegetables, I've already heated up. They're ready to go. I've got our 3 cups of rice, our 3 eggs. I have oil. I have a little bit of soy sauce and a few spices and a little bit of sugar. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is our little half sausage here. I'm going to go ahead and break this up, get it all brown, make sure there's no pink, make sure it's cooked through. The pink is all gone. Now, this sausage isn't very oily, so I'm going to add just a little bit of oil, less than a tablespoon. We just need a little extra something for the rice here. So let's saute the oil and the sausage together. And right now I'm on medium low. I'm going to turn this up to medium. Add in our rice. This has been refrigerated. Don't really want to use rice right out of the rice cooker. It's really starchy. It's just, you know, kind of gets gloopy. Doesn't make for the best fried rice. I mean, if you have to, you know, make everything right then, you know, you can certainly do it. But I like the texture and everything after, you know, after it's had a chance to sit down and rest in the refrigerator. I only did it for, well, I don't know, like 6 hours. I mean, if you could do it overnight, that would be ideal. For this one, this rice is going to end up getting divided into 3. It's going to be 3 meals, 3 pretty substantial meals at that. We are going to have fried rice for dinner, so that one will have the vegetables, and I'm going to have 2/3, so we'll have 2 servings, and they're going to be breakfast. So it'll be the sausage, the egg, the rice, and then we will season it up a little differently than we will the fried rice for dinner. We used to call it breakfast rice, and we would do it with eggs and bacon, and that might be something that we do in the future because our Dollar Tree is carrying the little 4-piece bacon package now, so we might be able to pull that off with that little amount of bacon, but I think we could still pull it off. And before I separate this out, I'm going to add a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, a little ginger, just a little bit, and some soy sauce. If you have leftover packets from dinner, it's a great time to use them up. You're going to have to forgive me. Sometimes we've got rice jumping around, and hey, that's what they make cleaning products for, right? Okay, now that we've got this distributed around, I'm going to make me a well. I have my 3 beaten eggs. I'm going to put those right in the center. Okay, now we're going to give that a chance to set up, and basically we're going to scramble these eggs, and when they are a little on the, you know, like 90% done, we'll start incorporating them with the rice. That way everything gets a little coating too. It's not just egg floating around. Kind of get that goodness through the whole thing. And because this is our main protein here in this dish, I wanted to make sure we had enough egg to really drive that home. I want to start the dish off with having some, you know, good value in it. We as a society eat enough empty calories as it is. When we're cooking at home, you know, let's make it the best that we can. Just really start incorporating those eggs. You know, I said this was going to be 3 servings. My goodness, I really think this is going to be 4. Could be even more than that. My goodness. Gang, we may have actually, I think we're going to have leftovers. That's okay. This is a good, if you're hungry during the middle of the day kind of thing, just grab a little leftovers. $10 is not a lot, so you gotta make do with what you've got. I'm still gonna go ahead and divide this into 3. About that. Okay, I'm gonna take 2/3 out. I'm gonna leave my dinner portion in. All right, we've got our dinner portion left. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the vegetables, get that cooked. To me, the vegetables in the morning, they don't scream, you know, morning. So this is definitely our dinner portion. This does not take long at all. I'm going to add just a little bit more soy sauce. My secret weapon, we're going to add a little bit of sugar, just a little here. I don't have teriyaki sauce. I would love to use teriyaki sauce, a little bit more onion powder. Because I don't have teriyaki sauce, I'm going to hope that my sugar and my soy sauce can mimic enough of the taste so I get the taste I'm craving without having to buy yet another product. Dollar Tree does sell a teriyaki sauce, and it's not bad, but we didn't have the extra dollar in our budget. Personally, I think I'd like to add just a little more sugar, tiny bit more soy. Look at that. It was fast, it was easy. Some good carbs, you've got some good protein. I've got that teriyaki-esque flavor I'm looking for. And that is a dinner portion. Wow, that is going to be a good size dinner. All right, let me swap this out and get the breakfast portions back in here so I can finish that up. We have our breakfast portions back in here. That is a lot of food for 2 breakfasts. All right, for this one, I'm going to add a larger portion of sugar and a little bit more. I want this to be a little sweeter for breakfast. This menu does not have much in the way of, you know, curbing a sweet tooth. If you had a few more dollars, let me tell you, I am missing my peanut butter and jelly toast in the morning. If I had $3 more, let's say we spent $13, I would get the bread and the little peanut butter and the little jelly, because that would make a great start to the morning. This is definitely a good start to the morning. This is the breakfast rice. We have this twice. Got the rice, the egg, and the sausage. And 3 of our little corn tortillas, and I'm just going to brown the edges a little bit over my burner. You can certainly heat these up in the microwave. They toast up beautifully in the oven, except it's like 115 today. I'm so not turning on the oven. So we're not going to tell anybody that I'm working with an open flame, because if you followed us for a while, my family would have a heart attack. I'm accident prone beyond belief. All right, so I think that's enough for that one. You get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and finish these up, and we're going to have 3. I'm going to put our beef bouillon from our soup packet in here. And I have 2½ cups of water. Let's get that stirred in. And this is 1/4 of the package of that California blend. So I'm going to go ahead, because these are frozen within an inch of their life, so we're going to go ahead and let them hang out and gently boil in here for a little while. I don't want them, you know, so soft that, you know, it doesn't remind you of a stir fry, but they can't be rock hard frozen in the middle either. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and that's also going to give a little more flavor to this broth. Those have come to a nice boil. Now we don't want to cook these poor things to death. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the vegetables. They've imparted some good flavor in this broth. I will cut the vegetables down. Okay, now we're going to cook our noodles. Okay, get those in there. We'll cook those. It'll only take a few minutes. Okay, my noodles are done. I'm going to fish them out here. And I have my frying pan off to the side. We're going to saute these with the vegetables. We are going to save this broth. I'm going to add just a teeniest bit of ginger. Let me grab my garlic. You know what? I think I want to give it just a little bit more of a garlic punch. And then look here. I have, like a droplet of soy. We're going to go ahead and add that. Okay, and now that this is hot, let's get it really ripping here. We're going to stir in our egg, and we're going to make egg drop soup. So we'll have the egg drop soup to go alongside our little stir fry. Beautiful. Alright, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil, onion powder, a little garlic powder, and then a tiny pinch of ginger. Let's get that incorporated. And we have no meat in here. You could have done it like one soup. So you could have left this in there and had the egg drop soup and have this be part of it. So if you had chili sauce, that would be really, really good with this too. And Dollar Tree does sell a beautiful sweet chili sauce, and it's $1. You can't beat that. It wasn't in our $10 budget this time around, but you know what? I don't think we're going to miss it. The garlic powder, the onion powder, that olive oil. You already have the salt that these were cooked in with the broth. And then we're going to have the egg drop soup on the side. So, you know what? I think that is about it for this. Let's plate it up and take a look. Next up, we're going to start our breakfast scramble for our breakfast tacos. We're going to take the other half of our sausage, we're going to crumble it and cook it, make sure it's not pink. Alright, we're all cooked, ready to go. Now, I held out a ½ cup of rice. It's not a lot, and I don't think it's going to affect the flavor too much, but just to give this a little bulk, because this is going to be 2 breakfasts. So I just want to make sure, you know, we get enough to eat. So I'm going to go ahead and saute that ever so slightly in with our sausage. Alright, I think we're good to go. I'm going to turn up the heat just a little bit. And I have 4 eggs. And we're going to go ahead and scramble those. And then we will split it in half. This is going to be for 2 breakfasts. And see, I don't think that rice is going to be any big deal. If we had potatoes, I would have thrown in definitely some potatoes. Alright, now I'm just going to put in just a little salt and a little bit of pepper. We're going to have some seasoning already with that sausage, just to give it a little bit of help. I'm going to finish scrambling these, and I'll be right back. Alright, these are done. And, you know, that looks like 2 nice portions. And let me show you how we're going to plate these up. Okay, we're going to top it with some of the cheese we grated. Oh, it's already melting. Remember to be sparing. This has to last us all week. And then look what I found in the refrigerator. I found a certain taco shack place. So I'm going to go ahead and use it since I have it. And there is breakfast. This next recipe is going to be for part of our breakfast. It's called congee. It is a rice porridge, basically. You could serve it on the sweet side, you could serve it on the savory side. You could make this with the 4 cups of water, like I'm going to do here, to 2 cups of our pre-cooked rice. Or you can use milk, you can use partial milk, you could use any number of, you know, vegetable broth, chicken broth, whatever you want if you want it more savory. But because I want to leave myself open to the option if I want to serve it with fried egg or if I want to serve it with a little bit of sugar, I'm going to leave that open. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to spare you the joys of the blender, I'm going to add the 2 cups of rice. I'm going to blend it until smooth, and then we'll transfer it to a cooking pot. Alright, everything is all blended up. We've transferred it to our pot. Everything, you know, I mean, it's pretty smooth. You know, this is going to remind me of like cream of wheat, grits. Oh, eggs and grits. If we had another dollar, we would have bought another box of grits, let me tell you. But we're going to go ahead and bring this to a boil. I have it over high heat. And then we're going to drop it down and simmer it until the consistency, we'll cook it until the consistency that we like. I like mine almost like a firm grit. And this is going to make 3 servings. We're going to have this for breakfast 3 mornings. So we'll go ahead and make it and we'll portion it out. It's been about 7 minutes. Look how nice and thick that is now. All right, let's go ahead and plate this up and you'll get to see what it looks like for breakfast.
Well, friends, that was the Dollar Tree Challenge. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 1 person, 21 meals for just $10.
Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you for spending time with us. Until next time, eat well, be safe. We'll see you soon.